President Trump has ordered another 2,000 National Guard troops and 700 U.S. Marines to Los Angeles. And Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has fired all 17 members of a key vaccine committee. Good morning, I'm Corva Coleman from NPR News, and here are today's top stories. Protests dwindled overnight in Los Angeles as demonstrators continue to protest federal immigration raids. Steve Futterman has more.
The number of protesters who refused police orders to disperse was not enormous. Several hundred when the confrontations began in the early evening. By midnight, it was down to a few dozen. New raids by ICE agents is fueling the anger. L.A. Mayor Karen Bass.
I can't emphasize enough the level of fear and terror that is in Angelenos right now, not knowing if tomorrow or tonight it might be where they live, it might be their workplace.
Local officials here have been frustrated by the continuing nightly confrontations and are discussing the possibility of a limited curfew. For NPR News, I'm Steve Futterman in Los Angeles.
President Trump is verbally clashing with California Governor Gavin Newsom. Trump says he would support a federal effort to arrest the California governor. Newsom posted his reply to Trump online.
I told the president, just get it over with. Arrest me. Move on. If you need some head to scalp, do it with me, but stop messing with these kids.
Newsom and California's Attorney General have sued the Trump administration. Newsom says Trump did not consult with him before sending in federal troops, as is customary. But Trump is sending in another 2,000 California National Guard troops and 700 U.S. Marines. California officials say they are not needed, and Trump is making the situation worse. There have been protests reported around the country over what's happened in L.A. Protests have been reported in Austin, Texas, Boston, Atlanta, Seattle, and Charlotte, North Carolina. Part of the protests came in support of a California labor leader. He was arrested during last Friday's immigration raids in L.A. Steve Futterman reports the labor activist has been released.
The U.S. Attorney's Office here in L.A. accused David Huerta of one count of conspiracy to impede an officer. The incident occurred last Friday as ICE officers were conducting raids looking for migrants without legal status. Those raids sparked protests and confrontations with police. Huerta, who had been detained since Friday, made his first court appearance, then was released on $50,000 bond.
We will have our time for justice, but we must do it in a way that we demonstrate the power of working people.
Huerta says he's been in touch with some of the 44 people detained in the Friday raids and says that some of them told him that they have not yet been able to meet with attorneys. For NPR News, I'm Steve Futterman in Los Angeles.
Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has fired all 17 members of a key vaccine committee. NPR's Will Stone reports the members advised the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention about federal vaccine policy.
Kennedy was very clear in a press release. He said, quote, "A clean sweep is necessary to reestablish public confidence in vaccine science," end quote. It's worth noting that Kennedy himself spent years undermining confidence in vaccines. He also claimed the committee was rubber stamping recommendations and had conflicts of interest.
NPR's Will Stone reporting. Separately, the American Pharmacists Association says it won't endorse the latest vaccine schedule issued by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The CDC has yanked the recommendation for pregnant women to get the COVID-19 vaccine. Local media reports in southern Austria say at least 9 people have been killed and several others injured in a mass school shooting. NPR's Rob Schmitz has more.
Police in Graz have only confirmed that there are several deaths from the incident without going into further details. But they say that there is no longer any danger. The local newspaper Kronen Zeitung has also reported several dead, including a teacher, and that the suspect of the shooting has been found dead in a bathroom. Graz Mayor Elke Kahr, quoted by Austrian news agency APA, called the incident a terrible tragedy. Austria has one of the most heavily armed civilian populations in Europe, with an estimated 30 firearms per 100 people. Machine guns and pump-action guns are banned, while the ownership of revolvers, pistols, and semi-automatic weapons are allowed only with official authorization. Rob Schmitz, NPR News, Berlin.
Russia has again fired missiles and drones overnight into Ukraine. These targeted the capital, Kyiv, and the Ukrainian port city of Odessa. Officials in Odessa say that some of the targets were medical buildings, including a maternity ward. President Trump is visiting Fort Bragg in North Carolina today to celebrate the Army's 250th birthday. As NPR's Tamara Keith reports, President Trump will address troops and their families at the base ahead of a parade in Washington, D.C. this coming weekend.
Trump's visit to the largest U.S. Army base by population also allows him to celebrate a campaign promise kept. The Biden administration had renamed the installation Fort Liberty, but Trump quickly had it changed back.
We win world wars from Fort Robert E. Lee, from Fort Bragg, from all the different forts. And what do? We change the name of the forts because we want to be politically correct. So a lot of them we're changing back. You probably noticed Fort Bragg and others. But I think it's a time to celebrate our military.
The massive military parade featuring tanks and flyovers is on Saturday, which is also Trump's birthday. But he insisted it isn't about him. Tamara Keith, NPR News.
In Spain, about 1 million people have taken part in an annual pilgrimage to honor a Catholic icon of the Virgin Mary. This has grown to be one of the world's largest Catholic events and includes flamenco, festivities, and, as Ruth Sherlock reports, songs of devotion.
Crowds in colourful dress sing to the Rocío Virgin, an icon of the Virgin Mary in El Rocío, Spain. Videos filmed by the Associated Press from there show throngs of people wading through a river on foot and on horseback in this Andalusia region. There are festivities with dancing, beer and wine, and then all that falls away for the final procession. A swollen mass of people, all jostling, packed in together, trying to get as close as they can to the icon. Men hold young children above their heads, trying to press them to the icon, hoping they will be blessed. Ruth Sherlock, NPR News, Rome.
And I'm Corva Coleman, NPR News from Washington.